If your nib's too slow and your ink won't flow, here's one of the places that you can go. Larry is here to help you through with Mr. Announcer and Cubby too. It's Larry's Fountain Pen Reviews.
Okay, all right, folks. Hey, welcome here to Larry's Fountain Pen Review. And today I'm doing a pen pal hangout with a friend of mine, Tony. Welcome to the show, Tony. What's up?
Good. How you doing, Larry? I'm doing great, man.
I'm doing good. I beat on the drums a little bit today. I'm going to give Mr. Announcer sometime this week. I want to do a song. I don't know what song, but just kind of rock out a little bit.
You should, man. You can't stop rocking. I mean, you got the built-in band right there. You know, Mr. Announcer. He's a talented keyboardist, and he's gonna. That's all you need is a keyboard and a drum, and you got it right there.
And he does synthesizer as well on there.
Oh
so.
Yeah.
So
okay, we can do 25 or 6-4.
Not well. Speaking of that, we lost. What a crazy world this is.
Yeah.
What a crazy year. Eddie Van Halen, of all people, I mean, passes away. Who I had no idea he was sick.
He had throat cancer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just tragic. And I grew up. I played a lot on the road in the '80s, and we played a lot of Van Halen. We covered a lot of their material, and he was just a dynamo, man. The guy was an incredible. He really transformed the guitar in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah. Also, another person who died, Mr. Announcer was telling me. Remember Johnny Cash? Nash. NASA.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. He passed away. He was what, 80?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't he not the one that said I can see clearly now?
Yeah, I can see clearly now.
Yeah.
The rain. Yeah, that one. Yeah,
wow.
Great song. Wow. So what we got going on today, Tony?
This is our second kind of meetup.
Right.
The last interview we did, my daughters saw it on YouTube, and she said, "You're a superstar, Dad. You're on TV." No, I said, "I ain't nothing. I'm just hanging out with Larry." We're talking about pens and writing and stuff like that. And rock and roll.
That makes two of us. We're nothing. We're just a little ant. Go ahead.
Well, you know what? When you bring two people together, you've been doing these meetups recently on the Zoom, and it's created a lot of excitement when you get a lot of people that love pens, love the passion of what we do, this hobby that we're in. It does make a difference. We have to hang on to this, Larry. It's gonna disappear.
Yeah. And what's really cool and awesome is that, Frank from Federalist Pens and Jim Hines and Brian, and also Brian and Lisa is going to be joining me in November. They're all coming together to support one big thing, pens. Because we're all pen enthusiasts. This is what we're about.
Exactly.
It's not about being all this or all that or Mr. Star this. It's not about that for me. It's about talking about our passion.
You're absolutely right. And one of the nicest thing about this, what we get together for, I mean, I'm not a pen reviewer. You know that. I wouldn't know how to review a pen. I guess
you would. Yeah, you would know.
But the deal is, you're a pen reviewer. One of my good friends in England, Dave Burrows, Penultimate Dave. Yeah, he's also a pen reviewer like yourself. And, one of the things that you two have in common is that you both are my pen pals. Aside from being pen reviewers, you both write letters. He writes some fabulous letters. You are at the top of my list of favorite pen pals, because there's one thing I can count on, and that's a letter from Larry Barones.
Always.
And I appreciate your letters, really appreciate. And, the thing is, we have that. The pens are great. They're wonderful. If they're sit in a case and you look at them and go, how pretty they are, what good is that? It's like putting a woman in a wedding dress and saying, well, you look pretty, but don't come home with me. It's all about, you got to utilize. That wasn't a very good analogy. I apologize to all women out there, but I will tell you that the pens, you have to use them. You got to use them.
Yes, you do. Yeah. But I have met some people that they buy these beautiful fountain pens, and they paid a lot of money for them, and they have these pen cases, they're glass showcases, and they have these pens in there with lights on, and they turn around, and that's all they do. It just sit in these pen cases. They have never ever been inked up just to show. Isn't that something? I go
Right.
nuts.
They are like work of art. What I should have said was it's like buying a beautiful car and leaving it in the garage and never driving it.
Right.
So that's what I should have said.
Yeah.
But you know, you got to write with these pens, and of course there is something to be said for people that want to collect, and that's their deal. That's their passion, is just to collect and acquire beautiful. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But I'm not one of those people, because
Me neither.
I love to write. Whether it's a pencil, crayon, whatever you got in my hand, if I can write with it. But I choose fountain pens. I choose fountain pens as my favorite. So,
and you know,
I think that
I started Larry's Fountain Pen Pals back in 2015 because I wanted people to write more, to use their pens, inks, and papers, to be creative. It's more personal when you write a letter than to get on a computer nowadays and send an email. You know.
No, right. There's nothing.
You know.
There's no feeling there at all. There's nothing. I mean, yes, you can type in what you want and send it, but when you have taken the time to actually sit down and spend that hour or 2 hours or whatever,
right,
and jot down something, it comes from your heart all the way through your arm, in your hand, onto that paper, and you mail it to that person, and they have a piece of you. They have a sense of you, not just something typed. Anybody could type something on a keyboard. It could be somebody else. It's like those dating sites. You think that's a pretty young girl, and all of a sudden it's an old guy, and you know, you don't know what you're dealing with. I've really gone off the deep end on this one there, Larry. I'm sorry, man. I've gone off the deep end.
Good. It's all good, bro. It's all good. It's all good.
But you know what I'm saying? It is special.
You know, back to the my pen pal group. It's like I want people to enjoy the pen pal group. I want them to reach out to other folks, to, if they don't have any pen pals, you know, ask people in the group, want to be a pen pal. If you can't find anybody, ask me. I'll go ahead and take it. You know, I only take so many because I'm so busy. I'm doing a lot of stuff.
Absolutely, you're right.
But I've taken on one other person today because he joined up in August and he hadn't had a pen pal yet. So that's a little too long. So I went ahead, you know, I took him, and I'm going to take him, because what's cool about it is you get to know more about your pen pal, and you'll bond. You'll get that bonding between both of you, and then you become friends. Even though you may live, I may live in Texas, you may live in Wyoming or Chicago or
all across the world, Larry. Across the world.
It doesn't matter. You finally.
I've got exactly.
Like you and I have a lot of the same interests besides fountain pens, inks, and papers.
Sure. Right. It is a way to bond and to create new friendships across the world. And to be frank with you, it's really gratifying to know that if I were to go into, you know, a matter of 10 or 15 different countries, I'd have somebody there I know.
Yeah.
You know, it means a lot to get to that mailbox and see something there that's waiting on you. And some of these pen pals are really creative. I've got one. I just got to show you this envelope. Look at this.
Wow, that is awesome.
Every time I get an envelope from that woman, she's up in Seattle. She hand colors and she paints a design, and I keep all those envelopes. I don't throw them away. I want to save them because they're special.
Yeah, I save all my letters. I put them in a box. At the end of each month, I'll put them in a box that holds so many. Then I mark it what month they are, and I keep them, because I go from time to time. I may open a box from 2015, 2016, and just
amazing.
And check out what was going on back then, you know?
Exactly. It's gratifying. There's no question about it. And to have someone respond that they appreciated what you did by writing them a letter. I've gotten some letters back where I had written this woman, and because someone said, hey, you know, would you mind writing my mother? She's going through a rough time. And I wrote her a letter, an encouragement letter, and unfortunately, you know, it didn't end well. Her mother took her life, and but the daughter wrote me back a letter saying how much she appreciated the letter I had written to her mother, and how her mother, it did brighten her mother's day. And it just, you know, that's all we can try to do, is to try to uplift somebody's life. You know, you
Right.
want to try to give them some positivity in their life, make their life a little better.
I had one time, maybe a couple of years ago, a gentleman wrote me and said, Larry, my daughter and I, we watch your channel a lot, and my daughter is in the hospital, and she was dying of cancer. What, 8 years old?
Oh.
And he wrote in the letter, he said, could I mention her if I have the time? And I did. There was a video somewhere in here that I made a video,
Right.
and I was telling her, this is for you, sweetie, and blah, blah, blah. I said this and that. And I never heard anything more. So I think that she passed away, and the dad was just totally freaked out, you know.
Oh, terrible.
You know, it was just, how can you handle losing a child?
No, I said, I unfortunately know lots of people that have lost their children, and and having 6 of my own, I don't know how you go on, but you have to. Unfortunately, life is not fair and
Life
easy
continues.
for everyone.
Yeah.
A lot of people have. That's why you wake up every day, and you got to be grateful for what we have, because there's always somebody down there that is out there that's going through a terrible time, and you have to have empathy for them and compassion for them, because what else you can do? You know, we are blessed. I know for a fact you go through your days where it's really difficult. You have a lot of pain, and
Yep.
and you know what? I've never seen you complain about it. I've never seen you frown when you're on these videos. You're always upbeat and happy. I know you're talking about your passion for pens and writing, and you know, that shows that you know, you got to go beyond what's ailing you, and try to face each day with some positive. And I appreciate your videos, Larry, for that reason alone.
Well, thanks. I appreciate you, man. I mean, first of all, I love your penmanship. It's a killer, a total killer. Yeah, when I see that letter comes in, I said, "There's Tony, right there."
Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny you should mention that, because I said this in our last interview when we did that little interview. You know, I've been working on my penmanship. I listen. I appreciate that those are nice words and kind words, and I get people say, "Oh, well, you write so beautiful," and all that, and I really do take that to heart, because I try hard. I look at, but ultimately, every one of my letters I get, I look at each letter, and there's a couple of them that are difficult to read sometimes. But when I get used to their handwriting, it's simple. But everyone's handwriting is their own unique stamp. I really, when I can recognize, if you just showed me a letter, didn't tell me who it was from, if it was from one of my pen pals, I could tell you exactly who wrote that letter, because I know how their handwriting is. If I see your letter and I see your handwriting, I know it's your handwriting, and it's beautiful, by the way. You don't give yourself enough credit, Larry.
No.
Your handwriting, no, but your handwriting is really, really good. And so, you know, I've got a lot of pen pals. Some of them they're all varying degrees, but I appreciate each and every one of them. And I never look at it and go, "Oh, well, look at that handwriting. They don't know how to." No, I never have done that, because it isn't about that, but I do appreciate that you like it. And the most important thing is it's legible. That you can read it. You know, that's the important thing right there. But you know, one of the things that's I want to bring up about this correspondence stuff, you know, it can be very costly, and I'll tell you why. Because, well, Dave Burrows over there, when we write letters back and forth, and when you write letters, I have gotten how it's costly is that you read these letters, and in the letters we will write down what pens and what inks we use. So guess what that does? I got to buy that crap. I got to buy that.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep. I got to have that ink. I love that ink. Oh, man, I got to have that pen. Wow.
There's an Andy Warhol purple, some sort of a pop purple or something. I think that Beatles purple that you
Yeah.
write with, it's absolutely gorgeous.
That's that Mont Blanc Beatles psychedelic purple. Yeah.
Beautiful. That's just a beautiful ink.
And
Beautiful.
you know, I had to have it when I got the Mont Blanc, the Beatles pen. You know, had to have the ink. So got
Of
the ink.
course, of course, of course.
So I mean, yeah, there's other purples, but it's not the Beatle purple, so I had to have it.
Exactly.
No. So on
Would
with
you?
the list.
I was going to say, you know, one of the things I thought about when I was wanting to talk to you today was about how writing with pens and music correlate. How can you correlate these two things together? How are they the same? And, you know, I thought to myself, Larry, you know, if you took a keyboard and you took two different performers or a drummer or a band, and they perform the same song, okay, whatever the song might be, and you listen to them, and as long as they're not playing the identical notes, they have their own flavor, right? You can tell that they're different. They have their own style,
Right.
and so you know what you have to do is when you're doing that, you know that they're all different. The pens, when you're writing with them, even though they're the exact same pen, two people writing with that same pen is going to be different. It's
Totally.
unique, right?
Totally.
So that has to come to that. To me, that indicates the artistic side of writing and the artistic side of playing music. It's interpretation. It's how you write. So that handwriting is your own writing. That's your artistic way of putting that ink on the paper. Do you agree?
Yeah. And what's going to happen also is that once you start using that fountain pen, it's going to fit to your style of writing. It's going to fit to your hand.
Yeah.
You know, so if somebody else got that pen and started writing, their writing is going to be different. It's not going to be the
Absolutely.
same. It's going to be different.
Yeah.
First of all, it's
Even
just the right.
if it's a monoline. Yeah, even if it's a monoline where there's no flex, you know, where you're just writing just monoline.
Yeah.
It's going to be different. Yeah, and let's face it, you can have if monolines, you can't tell. We discussed this last time. There's no way for you to look at a monoline writing and to say that was written with a Visconti or that was written with a cross or that was written with a, you can't, because they're all just one line.
Right.
But if you are the writer, and let's see how you feel about this. If you're the writer and you have this cross Peerless right here, okay, in your hand, and you're writing with it, even though the line is different from a pen that you would use, a different pen, you can tell the difference. There's a character to each pen. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, true. Yeah, I've been saying that. Yeah, yep.
Because I get that a lot. People say, well, you know, it's just a medium line or a fine line. Why don't you just write with one pen? Because they are different.
Yes.
They're different in the hand. There's a different feeling. You could blindfold me and put one of my pens in my hand. I'll tell you which one it is.
Yep, totally different machine. Yeah, totally, 100,000% correct. Yeah, different widths, line variations. They're all going to be different.
Yeah, but just the actual pen in it, the pen itself in your hand feels different as that going across the paper.
Yeah, the weight of it, just the way you feel in your hand, and you're using this pen, and it's just you're creating something. But then that pen's in your hand, and you're saying, you know, that feels really good. I can write long sessions with this pen.
Exactly.
And there's some pens that you can't write long sessions with. Your hand gets tired or starts hurting, and there's just something in that pen. Is
something about it. Yeah, you finally figure out which works best for you and which ones. It's really weird because there are some pens, and I've got too many pens, but I don't have enough. if that sounds funny.
Never have enough. Never.
I have yeah, I know. I have lots of pens. There are some pens I know when I put that pen on the paper, my handwriting is going to look good. And there are some pens where I've got to work at it to make it look good. You know, so there are some that you gravitate to. And, you know, that's a point I want to bring up to you, Larry. You know, we both love fountain pens. You've got a whole mess of them, I know. I got a whole slew of them. When I first started, you know, it was the accumulation stage. Boy, that's pretty. I got to have it. That's pretty. I got to have it. So now at this point, I've got so many pens that I had to rail myself in. And now I just, if I'm buying a pen, I want to make sure it's something that I don't already have, or that I want to make, you know, it's something I've been looking for. Well, just example, this latest pen, and I got this pen, and I already posted online. It's the Mark Twain, Mont Blanc, Mark Twain.
Oh, kick it, brother.
Isn't that something? So, you know, now I'm not at the point where I'm just buying pens, because there's a lot of them out there that are really nice. You know, like on that meetup we had, the Yafa, they showed off all those new Monteverde pens, and they all look really cool. And I don't want to neglect all the rest of my pens, so I'm trying to hold off, and I'm just buying a specific pen or two that I really, really want. And my biggest problem is where I buy them, because, for example, I've got people that I've bought pens from for the last 4 years. People that I've loyal to, I bought them. You're doing a good job. You buy from Frank, you buy from, you know,
Anderson.
I feel guilty, to be honest with you. I feel guilty when I see Frank show me a pen and I want to buy it, but I've already agreed to buy it from someone else. You know, I want to spread the love around, and because they all deserve to stay in business. I want all these pen vendors to be able to. I just can't support them all. I can, you know what I mean?
There's no, and that's why I split mine up. You know, like I went with Anderson on the Crystal Dream, and then I went with Frank on the Visconti Inferno Red. You know? Right. I could have went just with one and buy both of them, but I can't do that. I gotta share the love a little bit there.
Yeah, too. You do. Yeah, you do.
Kevin over here with Fountain Pen Revolution. I don't want to ever forget him. Great guy, super nice guy. You know.
I bought some pen wraps from them. Not, you know, the rolls, pen rolls.
Yeah.
Some really, really nice leather pen rolls that they've got.
And the new ink that Kevin has out, really some sweet ink that you need to check out. The Royal Flush Blue, I believe it's called.
Royal Flush Blue. I'll check that out. It's from Fountain Pen Revolution.
Whoa, it's hot. It's hot. It is
really
good stuff. You want to drink it. Yep. and he has that new green and red one that's pretty hot too. Yeah. And then Birmingham Inks has that, what is it, salmon?
Salmon hors d'oeuvre.
Yeah, salmon hors d'oeuvre. Okay, to be honest with you, when I first used it, it was okay. It was there. It didn't talk.
Didn't talk to you, right?
I kept using it, writing letters with it now.
Mm-hmm.
I started to dig this ink. It's just some wild fish ink, man, in my head, you know. So I wrote one page with the pen, of course, and I turn it over, then I use another pen. Sometimes I may write a paragraph and say what pen and ink, and do another one. That's
right.
I don't know, just how I roll, you know. But,
right. But what color is this? Like a pinkish orange?
It's an orange. It's almost fluorescent, but it's a bright orange.
Is it saturated enough? I mean, you know, some of my issues. Well, the inks that I really gravitate towards are those saturated inks. Oh yeah, I see that. It almost looks like that. It looks a little bit like the Diamine or the Monteverde Coral that they gave away at the pen show in St. Louis.
Okay.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of a coral ink. That's pretty though. That's beautiful. That's beautiful, Larry.
Well, I'm getting into that now. So, and then Birmingham is fixing to come out with some more new inks. So,
I like Birmingham inks a lot. I really do. I really like them. I mean, you know, that's the other thing. You know, I started buying inks up. I'm looking at inks all the time, and you know, my problem I have is I would have shelves and shelves of ink if I talk myself out of ink, frankly, because I'd be buying it all the time, Larry. I mean, I look at it and say, well, that kind of resembles the ink I've got, so I don't buy it. You know, I get weak occasionally, and I end up buying more ink. You know, because
here's me. Yeah, I buy bottles of ink, but then I have folks that send me ink, vials of ink.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I may get 5, I may get 20. Okay, I put them there, and then I may order some new inks, test them out. So I got 10 of those, and it just piles up. I may have 2, 3, 400 samples of inks. I'm not even using 80% of them.
I know.
Wow, it's crazy,
it's,
man.
it's absolutely crazy. But you know, we're suckers because we love it. You know, what are you gonna do? And another thing is paper. Let's talk about stationery while we're here, because part of this correspondence is writing letters. When you write these letters, you're gonna have good paper, right? And I'll tell you, I got to the point now that I can't write on bad paper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mine's Namo River, but I use.
Well, yeah, I know that. I see it every time. And when I write you back, I use Tomoe River as well. And I use Life paper a lot.
Yeah.
I love that Life paper a lot.
Did he tell you about that big stack of paper that he ordered?
Oh yeah, you're talking about the one that was the 500 sheets or something. You split it up with
5,000.
No way.
1,000, yeah.
It was Tomoe River.
5,000.
You got 4,000.
I got 4,000 sheets of it. Yeah.
Holy cow! And
Yeah.
and that you got a pretty good deal. You split that with another buyer, didn't you?
One of my pen pals. And what I've been doing is I've been making my own journals now.
Right. Yeah, you can with that.
I already have 1, 2, 3, maybe 10 of my journals that's going to go into my traveler's notebooks, and then I'm going to make a few more, and then I'm going to make some for my traveler's passport that I use both religiously.
Right.
So that's going to help a lot. And then I have buku paper left for letters. I'll have it till I die. What do you?
Yeah, I just ordered some more. I don't really need any more paper, but I'm a sucker for paper. I'm a sucker for, well, listen, it's the triangle, right? It's the paper, pen, and ink.
That's it.
It goes into making what we love to do, and that's to write. In fact, I'm going to show you this piece of paper. It's just going to look like paper online. But if you can see this paper, see that? Can you see the texture in that?
Yeah, yeah.
This is paper from the 1950s and 60s. I got it online. It's that onion paper. They call it onion paper. It used to. It's actually typewriter paper.
Okay.
From the old days. You remember the old typewriter paper that you get?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's what it is, and it's wonderful to write on, to write with your fountain pens.
Now, have you sent me a letter using that paper?
I might have. I think I have. I started using some more of it because I bought it from it was online on an eBay. Guy was just selling a whole bunch of it, and on Etsy you have to spend like $1 a sheet on Etsy. They sell like 10 sheets for $10. I bought like 320 sheets for $30. So yeah, I got a great deal.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's fun writing on different kinds of paper. Let's face it, I love trying out different papers, and I'll go to the thrift store. Sometimes you go to the thrift stores, you can run into a pretty good deal. If I get paper from a thrift store that's no good, I use it for taking notes and scratch pad.
Exactly.
I will never use bad paper in a letter. That's one of the things. I always want to use good paper when I send a letter.
Yeah.
And some people dress up their letter. I love the fact that there's so much stuff you can do to make a letter even more special. They've got these. You can order these stickers. Here, there you go. These stickers like this. You order these stickers, and they've got. You can use them to dress up your. I don't know if you can see that. Oh,
I see it. Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, it's just ephemera. They call it ephemera. Oh, what'd I do? Did I lose you?
No, you're there. You're there.
All right. Yeah. It's just. I lost the screen for some reason. But and if you can see me.
Yeah.
I can't see you, but for some reason. But anyway, the thing is, Larry, that we just it's all about being able to enjoy what you're doing these letters and dress them up and making them special. And sometimes just writing the letters is the best part of it all.
I used to, and I got out of it because I guess I'm just so busy that I just stopped doing it. I used to dress up my letters, put the borders on it, get this tape and tape the borders around the paper and put different stickers and stuff for Christmas or Halloween or just cool piece, whatever, in the letters. And then I just stopped.
Right. Well, like I said, it doesn't really, ultimately, it's all about what's in the letter, and that's your writing and your sentiments and all of that. So I think it's just a wonderful thing we do when we share ourselves like that, Larry.
So how many pen pals do you have now?
Well, this is funny you should ask. I usually have I counted them up about 6 months ago or a year ago, and I had like that were actually regularly corresponding with about 50 to 60. And yeah, well, the thing is they don't always. Some drop off, and then some I get new ones, and then the other ones come back. So it's like having someone that's constant like you are, and like my buddy Dave, and some of my other friends that I know I can count. They're always going to answer their mail and always going to respond. Those I've got maybe about 15 to 20 of those that I know I'm going to get a letter back. I'll have some people on Facebook, they'll say, hey, listen, I saw your letter and it looks beautiful, your writing or whatever. Can I get a letter? And I have no problem sending out a letter, but only if they're going to write back. I mean, it's if that's what I'm doing is corresponding, and it's not just one way.
When it comes to letters, I'm very serious and dedicated. I'm in it because I like writing letters. I like to meet people. I want to use my paper and my pens, and I want to get to know the heart of the individual that I'm writing to.
Right.
Bond with them, and it's just not something that I'm going to do a day or two, a week or a month or two. I'm going to stick with it. It's not just a hobby. It's one of my passions. That's what I love doing. It's important to me. I have about maybe 16 to 20 people that religiously write to me.
Right.
I probably have 30 or 40 that are on the back burner that write. Sometimes they just fade out, and then maybe after a year they may write. And I had some that I was very shocked that religiously wrote to me every week, every month. I would receive letters from them here in the States, and I got to know all about him. He was engaged and going to school and going to be this and that. And we wrote religious. All of a sudden, nothing.
Nothing. Well, I never judge, like if someone doesn't write me for a long time, I'm not angry with them, obviously, because life gets in the way, man. Sometimes something comes up. We don't know what happens in their daily lives. When we get a letter, that's not a synopsis of what's going on every day. That's just, okay, what they're sharing with us. But, like some of I understand what I have a problem with is if like that person, they stop writing totally and don't at least have a letter saying, I'm having some issues, I'm not going to be able to write as much, or send even a message on social media or something, say, I'm really going through some things, I apologize, I haven't written. And just more importantly, just so we know that they're okay. It's not like you don't have to write me to be my friend or pen pal. You just have to do what you can. I always write on my letters, write me if you have the opportunity or when you can, the next chance. I have no problem with that at all. I just love to write. I can sit and write letters every night for 2-3 hours.
My advice to my pen pals in my group that I have is that if you find yourself overwhelmed in life and you just don't have the time to write anymore, let your pen pals know that I'm going to shut down for a while. I don't know if I'm going to write back anymore, or I don't know when I'm going to write back anymore. I just have some personal issues going on, or I'm just burned out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because I've had pen pals that been telling me, Larry, this person, I don't know what happened. He or she has never written back to me, and I keep writing to them, but they don't answer. I said, then stop writing. If they're not answering, just a waste of your time and buying stamps.
I end up, there's been some that I used to write, we used to religiously write back and forth. And then when it stopped, what I did was I waited like 6 months. If I hadn't heard from them, I still sent them one more saying, hey, listen, I hope you're okay. You don't have to answer if you don't want. Just wanted to make sure that, that something hasn't gone on in your life or that I've done something to to bother you where you don't want to write anymore. So it's not, I'll give them one more shot. And then I realized that life has taken over, or they got burnt out, or whatever the case is. But it's interesting, Larry. We're in this pandemic, you know, and so people are stuck in their house, they're quarantined and everything else. And I wonder, it amazes me because now I have all this extra free time. I'm in the house. I'm not doing not playing band jobs. Although this month, more than I have in a long time. This month I'll be playing. I'll be rocking out. But I've had a lot more time to actually sit and write. And then when people say, well, you know, I'm too depressed to write, or I'm just not feeling it, you know, and I think, well, I get the most joy when I'm sitting at my desk writing. I do. It's just it's a passion of mine. So, you know, but everyone's different, Larry. You can't judge them for whatever they're going through.
See, with me, I can only take so many, I think, 16 or 18,
Right.
because I'm so busy. Like, you know, when I do a pen review, people think you pick up a pen and
Oh, no.
the length and this and that. Well, depending on the pen, I have to check the history, and I have to look at different sites and different places if I'm not finding enough information, or I can't find. It may take me a day. It may take me a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you know, for real, to find the information that I need to talk about the pen, you know.
Right. Right.
To tell the history about the pen. Okay.
Right.
So that takes a while. So I'm doing that, and then and on top of that, I'm getting ready to do the review. After I get the history, then I have to lay out how I want this to happen on the video. What I want here, what I want there, what I want to put in here, what I want to emphasize on. And then from there, that's where Mr. Announcer takes over. He'll go and he'll upload it to his computer. And then he said, you want this? Yep. I said, no, take that out, put that in. No, put this and that. No, let's put this in. Let's have a big intro coming in. Let's finish it with this, a lot of stuff. And then after he get all that done, editing, then he comes to my computer, then he uploaded it to my channel. And then we're done with that. But then also